Hey guys, how's it going? Stan here from Noir. We're at week 6 now of the devlog. So yeah, the game is developing oddly. I will be honest. First things first, my apologies if I look pretty ropey, if I sound pretty ropey. Yesterday was a long day. I was out drinking with the guys and gals from work. We got a train over to a town just down the road from us, and yeah, I started drinking. My first drink was about 9:10 in the morning, and I didn't sort of finish drinking until 11, and didn't get in until midnight. So if I'm sort of sweating and just generally don't look good, I'm not feeling too good. I've also paid to a bust to my rib when I was trying to flip over like a portaloo that one of my friends was in. Fun times. Good. Right, on with the devlog. So at the end of last week, I had utterly failed to get the lighting system working. It wasn't looking good at all. So basically, I kind of thought, right, what am I going to do here? I need to either press on and try and really bang my head against the wall with this lighting malarkey, or do I do something else? How do I try and save this game without using the lighting? Because the lighting was actually going to be a really key mechanic of the game. I might as well tell you what the idea was. I was being so coy about and keeping my mouth shut about. The idea was that you would wander around all of the levels like you were in some sort of off-world kind of space station type thing. You crash landed there, whatever, to be explained. And you basically, each section you would pot around in the dark, with just a couple of enemies here and there, just nothing major, just wandering around, and if they saw you they'd attack you, and that was that. But you would be really limited on your field of view because of that really sort of harsh lighting, and you would have to kind of explore the level in the pitch black, try and learn your way around, because there wouldn't be a map or anything like that. You just literally have to try and memorize your way around kind of the maze-like level, and the idea is you'd be trying to bring power back to the level so you could then operate the airlock and move from one section to the next. And when you did that, while you were wandering around, you'd then try and piece together what had happened at this space station. Basically everyone's dead, there'll be like bodies everywhere and stuff, and I had ideas of them kind of sort of hunkered down, if you know what I mean, or you'd find some that had locked themselves in rooms and all that kind of stuff. And basically when you hit the power, all the lights would come back on so that everything would work. That would then sort of call all of the enemies in from far and wide, and there would be a spawner in the room where you were, and maybe some others, and sort of the floor would break up, and then loads of them will come hoofing out, absolutely loads. And the idea is you then have to peg it out of, try and remember your way back to where the airlock is, and you'd have to try and do that in the dark, or in the sort of light now, but whilst being chased by stupid amounts of enemies. The spawners would just continue to keep spawning, so that way you wouldn't be able to sort of stay and fight. You would have to run, because eventually you would just run out of ammunition. So I got to thinking, like, what am I going to do if I cannot get this lighting system working? It was kind of important that it did work, because it was a key thing that you would have these two different lighting systems. One where it's in pitch black and you have to try and learn your way around the level in the dark, but not necessarily under a lot of pressure, and then you would then have to try and remember your way back in the light. Without one of those two things, you're then just left with like sort of basic stationary lighting, like wall lights and things like that. So I spent a lot of Sunday night last week kind of mooching around the place, trying to think about how I would try to recover this game if I didn't have that lighting thing. What am I going to do with it? And I was like, I want to try and recover as much of it as possible. So I started coming up with this idea that maybe it was like almost like a shmup kind of thing. So it would be a top-down thing, and you would have like sort of a spaceship, and then you would have a cannon on top that would rotate in the different directions. So I'm like, oh yeah, so that would then I could save the twin stick element, and you would. And I started getting quite excited about that, and started maybe designing some ships for that, and thinking, oh yeah, and I could do all sort of neon coloured sort of outer things and stuff like that. I would give it a real aesthetic, because the sort of sci-fi thing that was going on with the top-down shooter, it didn't really fit into the kind of cyberpunk kind of feel that I want, that you know, sort of the company has had prior to this. I know that's not a bit stupid to have a company with a theme, as it were, but I just, you know, I wanted just to kind of have that kind of overall, that, you know, it's reflected in the name, in the style, in everything about it. A lot of the artwork I do is kind of that kind of 80s-esque cyberpunk-ish dystopian kind of thing, and that was sort of the kind of genre types I would want to bring, like, because I'm really hugely into it. In fact, actually, if you watch the last two Wednesday videos I put up, which was top 10 tips for retro collecting, and the other one was best console in the world ever that I'd come up with. Yeah, if you look at like the games that I was playing there, very much of that ilk. I really like that kind of 80s themed kind of neon blah blah blah. But anyway, the top-down shooter did not really reflect that. It wasn't really in keeping with that. So I'm like, well, I can do some things like that. And I started thinking about, would I not just be better just making a shmup, just like a regular sort of shooter. I actually started designing some ships again for that, and coming up with some ideas for how I would go about doing that, and I can sort of implement them into some of the stuff that I've already got in place. You know, and none of it was really sort of grabbing, and I was always sort of finding problems, as it were. There was I wanted to do a top-down shooter, like sort of vertically scrolling, like 1942 or any of those games, Super Alistair and things like that. But that's got its own problems because everyone's using 16:9 screens now. So what do you do? Do you give them the full screen, in which case they've got an awful lot of side real estate, but it feels as though you can't see very far. You look at a lot of them, they're now squeezed and bordered in, so that, you know, you kind of have that vertical thing, so proportionally you can see further forwards and you can move left and right. So okay, that's a load of work trying to get that to work. So then I was like, well, I'll do a side-scrolling one, and there's been some very cool sort of side-scrolling ones out there as well. And I'm like, yeah, so started playing around doing some ship designs and trying to do all that. Nothing was really kind of coming together. Nothing was really working. Need a drink. Vitamin C. So yeah, then I was thinking, well, you know, if we can't do this lighting thing, is there a way that I can save the top-down shooter aesthetic as it is? And so I basically recolored the tile sheets and redid some bits on there, give it a bit of a kind of an 80s kind of retro feel to it, and then also started playing around with the lighting systems as well, and try and get some lights going on and try and save it there. They're really far from perfect, definitely not as they need to be yet. So there's a lot of work to be done there as well, but at least it's actually sort of lit and it looks a little bit better than it was when it was just kind of pretty flat. But again, there's still a lot of work to be done on that as well. So I don't know, so things are a little bit messed up at the moment. I was hoping coming to like this next week's break where I'm going to be making a video for next week. Not sure really what I'm doing at the moment. There is actually some hope, so don't panic, don't worry about this. This is all good. First of all, I was talking to a mate of mine, Ash, yesterday at work. Not work, in the pub, as you do when you're drunk. And I get talking about game development with anyone that'll listen. So we were chatting away, and he was just like, "Don't change games, don't change ideas, don't do anything." He said, "You're always if I start doing like the shmup and I get to a point and then there's something that I can't get working in that, or do I just give up with that one, or do I just give up?" And I just end up with loads of unfinished games, the famous indie trap of you know, lots and lots of half-finished projects. He was like, I need to stick with this one, it's a good idea, or there's lots that can be made of it. Twin stick shooters are always class. He said, just keep working at it and work your way around the problems, try and learn, give it more time, keep pushing, and then maybe it'll just grow and things like that will happen. And I think he's probably right. Cheers for that, Ash. That's good. Words of wisdom there. So I think that's definitely what we're going to do. But there is something that kind of muddies the water there a little bit as well. I've been talking to a guy out in the US, a guy called Josh. I've mentioned him a couple of times. I think I mentioned him in the last video and maybe some other times as well. And he's a developer as well. He's done quite a few little indie projects. Some pretty cool looking games. But again, nothing finished. He also had a YouTube channel as well at one point. with some cool little videos on there. And he sort of approached me about, you know, doing a collab. He approached me a while back, and you know, we've been chatting a lot and stuff, and I think maybe potentially there's some legs there. It's certainly something that's worth investigating. So I'm going to be thrashing that out over the next week or so with him, maybe having a chat, like a lot more chats. We talk quite a bit now, so I'll probably, you know, have some more chats with him when I've got my head straight and I'm not fucking dying. We'll have some chats and we'll see what we can come up with and see what ideas he has and where we want to go and how, and if we can. Obviously there's the sort of geographical barrier as well, but you know, we could probably work our way around that, and where we go from there. So I don't know, so there's going to be an interesting week which none of you guys are going to get to hear about until 2 weeks time. So yeah, I should have another week video up on Sunday, which will be a proper I think I'm doing a love letter. Yeah, I think I know what I'm doing. So yeah, I'll probably do a love letter like I did for the Amiga, only for another console. And yeah, so it's alright, it's okay. So, you know, not a huge amount of forward motion in this past week or two, but some definite things have changed. There's a lot going on at the moment, and there's forward motion, that's all good. But you know, this whole devlog series, it really is, this is not like a kind of a structured sort of thing. So I've always wanted this series. I did like the game making journey to show you what I'd learned and how I'd done things up to this point, and how I'd gone about learning what I have learned and acquiring the limited skill set that I do have. But yeah, this devlog is more about showing you the kind of the day by day, the week by week of actually developing something, hopefully to fruition, to launch, to everything. So there will be periods in there where I'm just like, oh, I don't know what's going on, and then there will be other times when I'm properly focused and it's like, yeah, it's been a really good week, we did this, we did that, we did this, blah blah blah. So, you know, and this is the ups and downs that you probably don't get to see very often. So yeah, hopefully it will all turn out fine. It will. It's going to be a really good game at the end of it. Everyone's going to be properly chuffed. They're going to love it, and they're going to look back at these early ones and go, "Wow, who would have thought that, you know, the best game ever made would have had such humble beginnings?" Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Like I say, I will see you next Sunday for a balls to the wall video. I'm hoping to get that done during the week, so that should be good. I might, if I get a chance, throw up some of the sort of speed art videos that I've done before, just where I show you some of the ship designs and the tile sets I've done and blah blah blah. So I might try and get some of them for the week, but I don't know, it depends if I get a chance or not. Otherwise, regular service will be resumed the week after next, when I'll be doing a Wednesday video. I've already got that all locked down in my head, and then obviously a Sunday devlog as well, and I'll be able to give you some more news on whether or not me and Josh have started working together, what plans we've got if we have, and what plans I've got if I haven't, and whatever extra grooviness I'm able to come up with between then and now. So yeah, it's all good. Yeah, looking forward to Game of Thrones tomorrow night. Yeah, that's always throwing a spanner in the works. Game of Thrones has nearly come to an end now, so that'll free me up for at least an extra hour. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Take it easy. I will see you next week. Again, I don't know what this is. Cheerio. Take it easy. Bye-bye.